Oh, that's that missing piece from that rocker arm. The piston is completely off center in there. What's going on, guys? We got the beater shoes on, we got the air compressor running, we're taking the cylinder head off. I need to do some work in the wheel well over here, so I'm gonna take my passenger side wheel off. I'm praying that my gun here can break these loose without me putting the car all the way back down. So we'll see. Oh, hopefully the rest of them come off that easy. Come on, last one. Cool. So right there is an access hole. You need to remove the plug. There's gonna be a bolt behind there. Never noticed that before. Getting kind of ahead of myself though. We're not starting there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, all the way down here at the bottom of the tensioner is a little hex head down here that is a 16mm, and you have to rotate that clockwise. So it's as if you're generally tightening, and when you push this, the whole thing rotates like that, and then you want to lock that with a pin or a 3mm Allen. 3mm Allen in there. Okay, so you can see right there, I put a little 3mm Allen all the way through, and that kind of locks it in place. There's a lot of tension on that, so I'm kind of worried that's gonna like eat through my, that's gonna bend my Allen key pretty bad. So I'm gonna try to like keep some pressure on this wrench and then slide the belt off. But you're supposed to mark the direction of the belt first. Okay, so not the best arrow, but drew a little arrow showing that the belt goes that way. Now I'm gonna try to slide that off. I'm probably gonna replace that belt anyway. And now I'm going to let go of this tensioner, take that key out and let it go so I don't break this Allen key. I would highly recommend doing this with a breaker bar and a socket if you can get the clearance to get a breaker bar on there, because that was a lot of force that I had to put on this little wrench. And it was like digging into my hand pretty bad, but I got it off. Here we go, I got the arrow. Okay, right here up top we got two T30s for this cam cover, so those two are gonna come off. I think I already loosened these. I already loosened everything on the valve cover, so there are 14 T30s up here, and then there's 2 up on the side. I only tightened back down like 2 of them, like that one. Only a couple of them. I'm gonna keep this on for now. I'm not gonna remove the entire valve cover. I do need to get this cam cover off over here so that we can work on getting the timing belt off on this side. All right. So this pulls off right here. There you can see the timing belt. This should be able to just slide out. There we go. So next we need to get the notches in the camshaft sprocket to line up with the mark on the head. So let's see if we can locate those timing marks, and we have to turn the engine using a 19mm 12 point on the crankshaft down there. So let's try to locate those timing marks. All right, you should be able to see that right there. It's right there. And then that line needs to line up with that arrow right there. So I'm gonna get under there and turn on that crankshaft right there using a 19mm 12 point. This should be done in the clockwise direction. You should be turning this to the right like that. Alright, that was like a quarter of a turn. Let's see how much that changed. That like barely moved it. Let's try a half a turn. Okay, I turned it a bunch more, and now the line is right there and it needs to be right there. So it's off by about 1, 2, 3, 4 teeth. That arrow is pretty much exactly on the side of that tooth back there. So I think that's as good as I'm gonna get it. So this is really hard to record. You have to hold that middle 19mm 12 point while you remove all of those 6 other bolts. Yeah, this is a 10mm triple square on my Golf R, but it seems that on the Mark V GTI it's a 6mm Allen. But anyway, there's still 6 of them, and you still have to hold the middle bolt with one of these guys so that you don't turn the engine and mess up the timing again. These mosquitoes are brutal, absolutely brutal. I have all 6 bolts out, but this crank pulley is not coming off. The next step after this is to remove there's 5 T30s on this lower timing belt cover. I can't access some of them with this pulley on, so I have to skip that step for now, and I'll come back to it. I'm gonna get this overflow reservoir out of the way. I already have that hose disconnected from one of my previous videos, so I need to disconnect this harness, and then there are 2 T25s. One right there. I got that left T25 out right there. And now I'm gonna get this guy right here. Okay, I got the other one out. Now I gotta get this 10mm off. Okay, and there's a washer on that one. So now the windshield wiper fluid filler neck can move around, and so can the coolant reservoir. I don't know how far this can move. I'm kind of interested to see how far it can move. Yeah, I mean, you can move this thing anywhere. That's pretty cool. I'm just gonna leave that over there for now. Now we have to work on getting this motor mount off. Yeah, I'm just gonna resume this tomorrow since I need to check out the check engine light on my other car tonight before it gets dark.
It's loose enough to come off my hand. That's it. And even if you put a little bit, you got it. That's it. Good job. You got it.
Now that I have that crank pulley off, it's time to remove the 5 corkscrews right here on this lower timing belt cover. They're all T30s. I have all 5 of those bolts out, but the timing cover still won't come completely off until we get the motor mount off from up there. So that's the next step. Now you need to support the engine with a floor jack, ideally right here at the oil pan. You'll want to distribute the load evenly, so probably put some wood on there. For now, I just have a jack stand here. Yeah, this guy's over here is not really doing anything. When the time comes that I actually do need to support this better or lift it, I'll slide my floor jack over here, probably like around here, and then start lifting up on it. There's a little bracket right here that goes from the chassis to the motor mount. So if you move the reservoir overflow out of the way, and you can get this guy out of the way too. See this bracket I'm talking about? There's 2 13mm bolts on there, and that one's super rusty. Probably have to put the camera down to do this one. Okay, so now that bracket is off. Next, we're gonna come underneath the car and pop out this little access plug. There we go. You can see in there, actually you can't see it, there's a 18mm bolt straight ahead of me. For some reason, I guess it's because it's in a shadow, you can't really see it. I'm gonna shine a light in there so you can see that bolt. There's that 18mm bolt back there. It's probably like, I don't know, like 5 inches away from this access plug right here. So I'm gonna take that out next. At this point, you definitely want to support the oil pan. Well, you're supporting the engine on the oil pan with the floor jack, because you're gonna be taking the motor mount out. Got my floor jack on here with a little bit of pressure on the oil pan, and now I'm ready to take that 18mm out. Okay, so I'm about to put this through the access hole, this access plug. And that bolt is actually a 16mm. Man, that guy's really long. And I just let it fall right into this little in-between spot. There we go. Yeah, that guy's pretty big. Next, you need to remove this lower engine mount bolt right here. It's a 16mm. It's just kind of like right above the lower timing belt cover. I don't know why the camera is not really showing it too well, but it's right here. 16mm. You're gonna need a a universal joint, because if you put the bolt on straight right there, you're gonna run right into this frame right here. So you're gonna have to put a U-joint on there so you can get this extension down here. Wasn't on there super tight, but it's still tough because of that U-joint. Okay, got that off. So this is the first one that I took out. This is from the access plug spot. So this one's a lot longer than the one I just took out that was below it. So definitely have to keep note of that for when I reinstall these. Next, I'm gonna start disconnecting the top portion of the engine mount. We have these two bolts here, attaching the chassis to the mount, and then we have two more bolts here. And I mean, keep in mind this is an aftermarket mount, but your mounts should be similar. So I have these two bolts connecting this part of the mount to that part of the engine mount. I'm gonna have one more bolt right here hooking the mount up to the engine. So I'm gonna start disconnecting these. Start removing these. I'm gonna start with these two top ones. These are both 16 millimeters. I just broke both of those loose. They were extremely tight on there. Thankfully, it looks like these are ARP bolts that were included with this kit that the previous owner installed. It'll make my job a little bit easier. I won't have to replace these. Upgrade to a stronger, stiffer mount since I'll be bumping up horsepower by about 150 to 200. I should probably just start pulling out my power tools. This is getting tiring. All right, there we go. 1, 2. Now we got these ones down here. And these ones are 15 millimeters on my car. These guys were on here pretty damn tight as well. So these really tiny guys are at the bottom. The longer ones are up top. Now this guy should come right off. There we go. Now we need to jack the engine up a little bit to remove that last bolt right in here that's holding this part of the mount to the engine. So I'm gonna try to safely jack that up some more. Might need to come up a little bit more. That is a really long bolt, so you need complete clearance over this part of the frame right here. I have to take a break though, because I have a pizza in the oven that might be burning. I have the engine jacked up far enough to get to this last bolt right here. And I don't even know if the camera's gonna focus because it's like 2 inches away from the bolt. Okay, the camera isn't gonna focus if I put it all the way down in there, but there's a 16 millimeter bolt in there, which is for the last bolt for the engine mount. So once you take that out, this mount will come off the engine. I had to jack up the engine a few inches to get it up to here to clear this part right here. There is the bolt. All right, there we go. It's locked on there. All right, so that shouldn't fall. Should be able to grab this bolt first. Okay, yeah, there's a pretty long guy. And now I should be able to pull this whole mount off. And I'm not really seeing how you're supposed to maneuver this out. I might need to jack up the engine a little bit more. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't really know how to remove that. That might do it. Still not coming out. Yeah, it's extremely close now. Man, this thing's a pain in the ass. I don't want to damage anything else from jacking that up so high. Okay, well, it finally slid out, and it's still not really clear. Well, I'm kind of cheating, because I'm bringing it out the back. I'd consider that cheating. I'm considering this cheating because there's usually a turbo back there blocking that, but that was the only way for me to get that out. I'm gonna lower this a little bit because I don't like how high that is. And I have to stop working for the day because it's my nephew's birthday party. I'm going to have to stick some of these jack stands under there just as a safety in case that floor jack fails. So I'm gonna do that now. Okay, I have 2 jack stands with some wood, one on the transmission and one on the oil pan. So just in case this floor jack fails, the whole engine won't be falling out, probably breaking the other engine mount. So that looks good for now. The party is over. I'm back home. Dark as hell out. There was a new moon yesterday, so it is dark as hell out here. And it smells like a skunk. So the skunk that lives in my yard probably was just spraying. So I gotta be careful I don't get sprayed. It's so dark. Gotta keep an eye out here. Try to get this light on. Boom. Now we're in business. There are 2 remaining T30 screws on this timing belt cover. So I can see one's right here. Okay, so I got that one out from right there. The last one, I can feel it. It is all the way down here. It's all the way down here, right there. So it's just underneath down here. Yeah, you can see it. It's right there. You can probably get to that underneath. I'm gonna try to do it blind from above. All right, I got the other guy out. So I got all 7, 5 from before and 2 more just now. This serpentine belt tensioner is in the way right here. So I don't really know how to maneuver this out of the way, but it's definitely proving to be difficult. And I'm gonna have to probably start prying away either right here or right here at the tensioner. Yeah, there's no shot this is coming off. There's just no shot. So this tensioner is gonna have to come off. There's 2 bolts up here and there's one underneath right where the tensioner roller is. So it's gonna be tricky to get to that bottom one. So I'm gonna try that bottom one first just to make sure I can even get to it. This is a 13 millimeter. I'm gonna try to get the bottom one first. That one's definitely loose down there, so I'm gonna do these 2 now. Okay, that one's just gonna stay there, I guess. Gets kind of blocked by that guy. So now I need to fully get out that one at the bottom, and then the whole tensioner should come off. Just keep in mind that you have to remove that bottom bolt last, because if you try to remove it first, it's gonna back up against the roller like that. See how that bolt right there is backing up against the roller when it's all pushed up against there. But if you have these bolts removed first, as you back out that bolt, the entire tensioner piece right here will back out with it, creating some clearance. So you can just, as you loosen that, the whole tensioner comes off. Otherwise, that'll just back off right into the roller. Sorry, I know that was repetitive, but hopefully you get the point. So take the bottom one out last. I got the whole tensioner off. This is the serpentine belt tensioner. There you can see what I was talking about, how that'll back up against the roller. So that's why you have to take that out last. This one never fully comes out. That one does. Cool. Add this to my collection over here. Now I can finally get this lower timing belt cover off. And it's kind of like half beat to shit now. So I guess I'll throw those bolts back in there so I don't lose them. All right, now I'm making some progress. Hey, look at that. Little crush washer. It's just chilling right here. Weird. It's from the turbo. Okay, so now we have the cam sprocket right here. We have tensioner right here. Then we have 2 rollers, 1, 2. We have the water pump there, or the coolant pump, and the crank sprocket all the way down there. So we need to loosen on this tensioner. We need to loosen that middle nut, and then with the Allen key right there, turn this counterclockwise to relieve pressure off of the tensioner, and then slip the belt off of the coolant pump right here. So supposedly this is a 13 millimeter, so we'll go ahead and try that. Before we take the belt off, we have to make sure that the sprocket, the cam sprocket, is lined up with this mark right here on the head. So I think that's pretty damn good. I don't think it moved from where it was before. Right there you can see the mark on the sprocket and the mark on the head. I think that's pretty much as close as I'm gonna get it. So now I can take my 13 millimeter on here and loosen this guy up. Okay, so that tensioner is nice and loose now. So now I'm gonna stick an Allen key right in here, turn this counterclockwise so I can relieve tension and slip the belt right here off of the coolant pump. I have my 8mm Allen key. I'm gonna stick right in there on this tensioner, and I'm gonna rotate that counterclockwise, and all tension is off now. So now I can slip the belt off of the coolant pump. I'm not sure why you have to take it off the coolant pump first, but that is what the Pelican Parts DIY said to do. Right here is like the toughest spot to get it off. All right, so I got it off the coolant pump, so now I can take it off of the rest. So now at the bottom, I'm gonna take it off the crank and off of the tensioner and off of the cam sprocket. All right, there it is. Got it off. 17,000 mile old timing belt. I assume the previous owner had this belt replaced when the engine work was done 17,000 miles ago, but I could be wrong, and maybe this is the original 48,000 mile belt. Who knows? But while I'm in here, I might as well replace it. Okay, I think the head is pretty much ready to go. Looks like I just have a sensor here. I think everything else is clear. I'm gonna take the valve cover off now, and then we'll get to the head bolts, and then this whole thing should come right off. Okay guys, so you could have taken this valve cover off earlier, but I saved it for right now. I think there are 14 T30 screws up here. After you fully loosen them, like right here, they actually stay locked into the valve cover so they don't, you know, fall out and get lost. So that's nice. But yeah, let me see if I can count them here. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep, 14 totals. They're all T30s. Okay, I think I have all of them off. So now this should come off right here. There we go. Yours will probably be dripping with oil, but this is, oh, one of them fell out. Two of them fell out. Yours will probably be dripping with oil, but mine's been sitting out for a while, so mine's not super wet. I'm gonna stick this in here. I'll try to find those two screws so I don't lose those. Oh, there's one of them. Found one. Now there's another one somewhere. There's the other one all the way down there. So you can see those head bolts right there. So I'm gonna try to get these head bolts off. Those spark plugs might need to come out first. So there's a specialty tool needed to get these head bolts out. Got this one from Deutsche Auto Parts. As you can see, this specialty tool has like this, almost like a Torx, but it's not. There's a 6-point head. The head bolts are accessed right there with those little cutouts in the camshaft to allow you to get your socket down there. But as you can see, there's not a head on that for that specialty tool. And actually in small letters, these do say ARP. You might be able to see that right there. It says ARP. So apparently the previous owner actually had ARP head studs installed, but I did not know about that, and it wasn't listed on the receipt. I mean, it's a nice surprise because I was gonna have to buy those. So it saves me a couple $100, but it means I also bought that tool for no reason. Looks like there's a 12-point on those bolts, so I'm gonna have to try to find what socket to use on that. Before I pull this head off, I'm gonna get this little bracket off because I never use this. I think this was for the original engine cover, but I've been running no engine cover since I got the car. So I'm gonna take that little 12-point out, and it is a, yep, it's a 10mm 12-point. And same thing over here. There's this other bracket that I believe is for the engine cover as well, and that one's also a 10mm. So I'm gonna remove those, just clean this up a little bit. I should probably remove this end cover over here that has the vacuum pump, just because that might be tough to do once the cylinder head's off the car. There we go, so both brackets are off. Now the cylinder head's a little bit cleaner. Getting this vacuum pump end cover part off will be really difficult without removing the battery, so I'm gonna get that out of the way. Already have that disconnected, so I just have this guy here. Okay. Then there's these two little wing nuts. Obviously this is not a stock battery. This back one's usually a bit of a pain to get out. That can be a pain in the ass if you don't know what you're doing. Now, you don't need to remove this, but I might be removing that because I just might change my brake booster because I suspect that my brake booster has an internal leak causing a vacuum leak and a rough idle when I hit the brakes. I'm not sure about that. I'm gonna leave that on there for now. It's really easy to take that out. Just a couple of bolts. Here I'm gonna start taking off everything to the right of the cylinder head. First I need to take this vacuum pump off. They're T30 bolts. One right there, one right here. I already had to do this before when I did the Iabed TSI roller conversion, so I never have to change my cam follower again. It's more for peace of mind, especially when going to big turbo. It's one less thing to worry about. I think it's just those 3. Let's see. Yep, so that's it. Vacuum pump comes right off, still filled with oil. It's actually kind of cool. You can see the contact right there where the cam lobe contacts the roller. So this guy right here is the roller, and he just rolls right on that cam lobe as it spins around. Way, way, way better design than the flat cam follower. Now we have more T30s right here, going all the way around this housing. Before you take those off, you need to take this solenoid out right here. There's 2 little tiny Torx screws in there, and then there's this bracket right here you have to remove as well. You need to disconnect that bracket first. It's a triple square, really small triple square up in there. Next I'm gonna get this solenoid off. So there's this wiring harness up here. There are 2 T20 Torx screws. One right there, one right there. Be careful, these will strip. I actually replaced these with OEM ones because my original ones were stripped. Previous owner must have taken it off, or maybe when they did the bottom end build, the shop may have stripped them. So I actually cannot get my socket onto that other one until I get this bracket off so I can get this wiring out of the way. So I need to remove this bracket, and there's a 5mm triple square holding that in. That other one was holding in, I think, a coolant line, but that was removed a long time ago. So that guy can now be pulled up and out of the way like that. And now I can finally get to this guy right here. Now pulling this solenoid out, there's probably gonna be a bunch of oil on it. Actually, I might just keep it in there because there's no harm in keeping it in there for now. And then I'll pull it out and clean it later when I'm reassembling everything. But for now, it's pointless taking that out. Might as well just thread these back in gently. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep them in there, I guess, for now. Them being loose will be a reminder for me to pull those out and pull the solenoid out and give it a clean. So now I can get at these T30s up here, going all the way around and underneath as well. Some of them are a little bit tricky to get to, so you're gonna need varied lengths of extensions. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loosened so far. I think there are 2 more. I think there's one like right here and then one right back there. And those are really tricky to see. You have to put your head all the way down right here near the battery tray and try to look in there, and then try not to drop them once you get them out. They're really tough. Well, the one underneath is really tough. The one in the back here isn't too bad. So I'm not gonna be able to record this part.
Yeah. You're not gonna, no one's gonna get it. There. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Boom. Alright, let's pull it off. There might be something unknown that's like still hooked up. I don't really know. That was fast. Damn, this looks so sick. Yeah, the intake side's here. So only that intake looks bad. Actually, those look okay.
But it has that weird shit on it there. Look in the middle, you see how it's like two-toned and like cracky?
This one?
Both of them.
Yeah.
You see how these are all like pretty uniform?
Yeah, it almost looks like it's like separating or something.
Yeah, something weird happened there. You might, I mean, are you buying all new valves?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it actually doesn't look bad. That looks strange. See how different the burn pattern is on that? Like how, like in the center, there's no carbon, but like in all the other ones, carbon's in the center. So something that might maybe no good. Also, you can see it's off-centered.
Which one?
Like try to look, this number 2, look straight down on it.
Yeah.
Do you see a line on the cylinder at all?
Yeah, there's some grooving. There's some marks on the backside, see it?
And right at the bottom.
Because on like that one's like perfectly clean all around.
Do you want to turn it over to see piston 1 and 4?
Yeah, I guess we can.
It's sick though.
The piston is completely off center in there. Yeah, like it's almost, it's like touching almost.
It's locked.
Yeah, we can turn it over, see what it looks like.
We can wipe off all the oil and stuff just to get a better view of it. All dripping down, you know. Wonder why piston 1 didn't, or whatever the number is.
That one, oddly, it looks like it has like a lot of room, like a large clearance almost, doesn't it? Or is that just like an illusion?
I don't know. This one, as it was coming up, was like on the wall.
Yeah, and right now it's
Yeah, it's there. You can see that.
pretty much like touching.
Yeah, this one's not. Like the ring's still at least doing its job, but
This one looks great over here.
1 looks fine. I mean, 1 doesn't have any issues.
This is the one that had full compression too.
2 had issues, 3 had major issues, and 4 had some issues.
Yeah. One had everything intact, right? Both rockers are still intact.
So I wonder, does it push down or let up? Okay, so when the lobe's down, it should be, the spring should be open. So only none of the exhausts are really open right now. A lot of oil. It's not too bad. Yeah, I think this is definitely damage, and this is definitely damage.
Oh, that's that missing piece from that rocker arm.
There's the head stud wash. Want to flip it over and just shake them all out?
Yeah, might as well.
Only 1 came out. Only 1 came out. Ooh, but
Maybe we can just grab them with the thing.
yeah.
Can you rotate the cams and make the valves go up and down by hand?
We haven't done that
That'll
yet.
tell you if the valves with that. You're like down a third, getting a half, all the way down. Pretty much. One more quarter turn. Another quarter turn.
Yeah, a little bit more to go.
All right.
Nope, keep going almost. That's good. That's pretty much good enough.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Or you can go a little bit more. That's good.
Yeah, it's a little bit of scoring right here,
Yeah.
but
In
nothing
the back, just a
severe.
tiny bit, yeah.
To buy a pack of lint-free towels.
That's pretty much perfect right there.
Yeah, that's